Every day you play games you don't even realize you're playing. Not on your phone, not with cards or dice, but with your mind. You play them with your friends, your family, your partner, and most of all, with yourself. They're the invisible games of psychology, the ones we inherit, repeat, and hide behind. Games of attention, of validation, of control, of fear. We think we're being honest, but often, we're just being strategic. And the most dangerous part? We don't even notice. Every interaction you have is a reflection. Psychologists call it mirroring, the subconscious act of copying someone's gestures, tone, or posture. You lean forward when they do. You smile when they smile. You match their energy. Why? Because your brain is wired to connect through similarity. It's the oldest social survival tool we have. Be like them, and you'll be accepted. But sometimes, we take the mirror too far. We start changing our opinions to fit theirs. Our silence becomes agreement. Our identity starts to blur. And suddenly, you're no longer you. You're a reflection of who they need you to be. That's the first mind game, the game of belonging, the fear of standing out disguised as connection. Every human being wants to feel seen. It's biological. We crave recognition like oxygen. But in that craving, we play one of the oldest psychological games, Prove That I Matter. We dress a certain way. We speak to impress. We post what we hope others will like, not what we truly feel. And every heart, every like, every nod gives a temporary high, a chemical hit of dopamine. But like any drug, the effect fades. And soon, we need more. 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 That's when the trap closes. Because the moment your worth depends on how others respond, you hand them the controller to your mind. That's the second game, the game of validation, where approval becomes addiction and authenticity becomes the casualty. Humans love control. We want to predict, manage, and design every outcome. But control is often an illusion, a psychological defense against uncertainty. We manipulate situations to avoid discomfort. We plan for every what if. We overthink to protect ourselves from pain. But what we're really doing is avoiding vulnerability, because deep down, control feels safer than chaos. Yet here's the paradox. The more you try to control, the more you lose peace. That's the third game, the illusion of control. We try to master the world because we're afraid of facing ourselves. It's easy to point fingers, to say, it's their fault I'm hurt, their fault I'm stuck. But blame is another mind game. It gives us comfort because it removes responsibility. Psychologists call it ego defense. When the truth threatens our identity, the mind redirects pain outward. But the more we blame, the more powerless we become. The real enemy isn't the person who wronged you. It's the pattern you repeat after they're gone. That's the fourth game, the game of blame. We play it to protect our ego, but all it protects is our pain. Some people disappear when they start to care. They pull away, avoid texts, act indifferent. Not because they don't feel, but because they feel too much. That's called avoidant attachment. When love feels dangerous, the safest move is retreat. It's not about cruelty, it's about protection. They play distance like a shield, because closeness reminds them of every time connection once broke them. That's the fifth game, the game of emotional retreat. We ghost, we hide, we shut down, not to hurt others, but to keep from being hurt again. Narrator. Not all games are loud. Some are quiet, played in silence. We use guilt to influence. We withdraw affection to gain control. We praise to be praised back. These are passive mind games, the ones no one admits to playing. They're not evil. They're instinctive. Little subconscious moves to protect our ego, to maintain balance. But over time, they replace honesty with performance, and connection becomes competition. Music drops out. Pause. That's the sixth game. The manipulation of silence. We disguise need as strategy and call it strength. Act 7. The game within narrator. Here's the hardest truth. The most dangerous mind games aren't played with others. They're played inside you. The game of self-doubt. The game of perfectionism. The game of someday I'll be enough. You tell yourself stories. I can't. I shouldn't. I'm not ready. But those aren't truths. They're protective scripts written long ago to keep you from the pain of failure. Soft whisper. Safe. Stay safe. That's the seventh game. The self-sabotage cycle. The one where you lose by never daring to play. Act 8. The unmasking narrator. We all wear masks, not out of deception, but out of habit. We hide parts of ourselves to be loved, accepted, understood. But the more masks you wear, the harder it becomes to remember who you were beneath them. Psychology calls it role confusion. When you've performed for so long, you forget the actor and believe the role. Soft piano melody turns hopeful. But you can only connect deeply when you remove the mask, not all at once, just piece by piece. Act 9. The break in the pattern. Narrator. So how do you stop playing these games? Not by fighting them, but by seeing them, because awareness breaks the pattern. When you notice your need for validation, pause. When you catch yourself trying to control, breathe. When you hear your ego blaming, listen instead. The games lose power the moment you become the observer, not the player. Soft ambient light appears, gentle breeze. Act 10. Final message. Visual, sunrise. The camera pans across faces in slow motion. Different people lost in thought. Narrator. Soft, emotional. We all play mind games, not out of malice, but out of fear. The fear of being unseen. The fear of being unloved. The fear of being real. But when you strip away the strategies, the masks, the performances, what's left is truth. And truth doesn't need to win. It just needs to be. Soft music rises. Warm, cinematic. Narrator. Final whisper. The mind is full of games, but the heart, it only wants honesty. And the moment you stop playing, you finally start living. Screen fades to black. Logo. Mind scripted. Soft echo. Awareness is freedom.